public so people can talk.
Oh,
I don't know why it does that, but. And then if you we should be live now though. If you want to share it to a couple places, I'm going to do the same thing.
all right. It should be live on my Facebook stream as well because I'm streaming it to my audience. Yep, I see us. Hello.
What's up, guys? Welcome, welcome. Give me a second. Let me open up the privacy. I don't know why that does that, but let me share it to a couple places. But we're going to be talking with Laurie this evening we're going to be talking all things Psycho Sal. We're also going to chat a little bit about her creator-owned comic, Path of the Pale Rider, this evening also, to give you guys a little information about that if you've never seen it. They just had a Kickstarter ended that did extremely well.
We did great this time. It's not that we have never not done great, but it keeps growing, which
and that's what
flattered and humbled, and I it's great to see because you're always competing against I always compete against myself. Like, I don't compete against anybody else. I'm always just competing with my previous numbers, and that tells me if I'm doing my job and I'm growing the brand.
Yep, that's exactly true. That's what you want to do. Yeah, it's nothing wrong with there's nothing wrong with looking to see what other people are doing,
right?
Whether they're doing good or they're not doing so good, just to kind of get an idea. But in the same, whether you're a writer, whether you're an artist, an inker, no matter what your avenue is in this industry, you can't start that game where you're comparing yourself to what other people do. Because a lot of people, they'll jump on there and I've watched people try to go, oh, well, mine's not as good as Jim Lee or David. Like, dude, you've been drawing 10 minutes. They've been drawing 30 years. Like, what?
But even then, like, the audience is different, you know what I mean? Between horror and comedy, or there's so many different genres out there. It just depends on what you're doing and if people know you exist. A lot of times they don't even know you exist. So that's your main job, is to get out there and show everybody your stuff. Show them the goods. Show them the goods.
That's definitely true. That's just beyond true. I mean, you got to do your own thing. You got to keep your head down, concentrate on what you got going on, and then just enjoy what's happening. Sadly, a lot of people do kind of get caught up in that. Well, what's so-and-so doing? Why is my art not looking like theirs? Or why is, my Kickstarter not doing as well as that person? That's definitely a game you don't want to start playing. That's for sure. Bear with me just a second. I'm just sharing to a couple more places, just making sure that, and I want to get the Kickstarter link in here.
I got it. I got it in. When I shared it, I have it in my group, and I have it on my Facebook page.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
I dropped the links in there too for people if they're interested. Definitely go check out the things. It's so hard with your campaigns. A lot of times I'm always like, gosh, what cover do I want?
That's what a lot of people like. That's been one of the biggest things that we've had people comment on the Psycho Sal Kickstarters. Maybe I'm going a little overboard. Maybe I'm, putting too many, of this quality or that quality artists. But I don't know, man. I believe in trying to be the biggest bull in the china shop, and trying to get as much attention as I can, because I don't have 30 years to put in this industry. So by bringing in these people that, what I consider people that I look up to as artists, like Ryan Kincaid, Miko, Anna, all these artists that I've been privileged enough to have on board for this with Psycho Sal, and and these are a lot of times these are artists that I've looked up to or that I respect in the community, how they handle fans, how they how they deal with other creators and stuff like that on the respect level. That means a lot to me. So if I got to pay a little extra money to get some of these guys on the project, so be it. I look at it as I can't take it with me. So,
and that of course, it's like, did you do everything that you could? You know what I mean, on your project, instead of, oh, I kind of half-assed it. But I think with your covers, it's just like, you have so many different styles. You have so many different. There's something for everybody, and I really had a hard time because last cover I got was the Amy Good cover. and she does amazing work. And this campaign, you have TL on the cover. And for those of you who don't know, she's coming. So I had to pick that one because of course that's where my heart and soul is in this story, is in TL. And then
You're
but
the one
the cosplay
bringing
cover
her.
is so good too, man. I was just like, ah.
Yeah, it's and it's real difficult too, because I when I talk to these artists that for those that might be new here, Psycho Sal is my creator-owned comic. It's about a serial killer in New Orleans in the 1980s, and we're approaching this whole concept with this character with the intention of breaking the rules. We're stepping outside the norm as far as what horror is, as far as what thrillers are in the comic world. What's up, Joff? What's up, everybody? We're even stepping out of the norm with how Psycho Sal is as a killer. So, when I bring these artists on to do the covers, I got a lot of them. They're like, "Oh, I want to do Psycho Sal." I'm like, I've already got this guy and this guy doing Psycho Sal.
It's like they're all Psycho Sal and Dinks. I was like, everybody has their fan favorites. I'm like, but mine is different.
Yeah. So, and I love that. I'm glad of that. I love the fact they want to do their take on the character, but I've got to have a variety of covers because, like you said, as a creator, I don't want every single cover to have Psycho Sal on it. There's other important characters in the book. And I want them to have a little light shine on them. So, like I brought Amy Good in, to do Tony's cover. And then, then I brought
we need more
Ryan.
Tony. We need more Tony, William.
And we're gonna have like Tony's gonna be on a couple of covers for issue number 6. Because I brought in Ken Hunt, who he wanted to do all 3 characters, Psycho Sal and Victor Gray and Sarah Dinks, and I let him roll with that, and he did an incredible cover. And for those that may not know what I'm talking about, this is Amy Good's cover, and it doesn't have the logo trade dress on this image, but it does on the Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter is active right now for those that may not know. But like when I talked to Amy about the cover, I told her, I was like, look, I need something simple. I need something to the point, and I need something that's elegant. And I think Amy killed it.
She nailed it.
I told her, I was like, I want there to be, she's like, well, what do you got in mind for the background? And I was like, to be honest with you, I was like, I want it simple. I want it to be as if she's sitting in this moment, she's playing her music, the music is alive around her, and that's exactly what Amy did.
Yeah. This is the cover I chose.
Oh, was it?
I mean, can you blame me? I'm writing Tony.
With you giving the life and breath to the character. I can't blame you too much for that. But she did an incredible job with it. Like I said, she stayed on point. She gave me exactly what I was looking for with the cover. And I could not, I don't think I could be happier with how she handled it. What's up, Keith?
Keith.
And then, like I said, let's chat about Tony for a second as we go through these covers. For those that don't know, obviously you haven't read issue number 4 yet. And a heads up for everyone who backed issue number 4, I got word from McLean today, which McLean sent out an update on the Kickstarter. I should have number 4 books in hand this coming week. They're done printing. They will ship probably tomorrow. So I should have them in hand like Monday or Tuesday, as long as we don't have some kind of stupid delay with shipping. And then I will immediately sort them, pack them, and ship them out to the backers. So Laurie is on board writing issues 4, 5, and 6.
Yes. I'm so excited for people to meet TL. I really am. Yeah. She's such a great character.
TL's a sweetheart. And for those that don't know, I told Laurie, she's like, well, how do you want her to be as a character? I was like, she has to be the character that the minute you meet her, you love her. And we've all met those people like that in life, whether it be male or female. We've met that person that, like, the minute you meet them, when they smile, you're in love. Like it's that type of person. You know they're genuine. You know they're unique. And you don't meet a lot of those people like that. And I told Laura, I was like, I need her to be that right out the gate.
Oh,
And
and
you
she
guys
is.
are going to love her.
She's
Yeah.
every bit that. And I feel, it's like for people that have followed my writing, I they have a heart and soul, these
Yeah.
characters, and then I torment the shit out of them.
Yeah.
So, this is no different. You're gonna meet characters to kill off random characters that you're attached to. Sorry. Um, but TL is great. You're gonna really enjoy her, and then unfortunately, we do torment her a little bit.
Yeah, she
A little
does.
bit,
And
a lot. We torment her a lot.
yeah, she's and like some people, hey, what's up, Tim? Like, and I want people to understand the way this book is being written. Again, we're breaking rules, we're creating new ground, we're breaking the mold of how people view horror, how they view thriller, how they view serial killer concept horror movies. Even in the writing, the first three books are all the FBI agent's perspective, written by Chris Hayes. And then we move into 4, 5, and 6, where we change that perspective, and now it's all from TL's point of view. And and Laurie's writing that section of the book, and we want to show people that these characters matter, and that it's not a joke, it's not one-liners, and because a lot of horror is that way now. It's a lot of one-liners and jokes. Oh yeah, there's a lot of it in horror. I mean, most of the time, to get away from it, a lot of times you have to go towards the more heavy horror to kind of get away from a lot of it. But if it's just like even like you go and look at some of the slasher movies, there's a lot of one-liners and jokes.
You're right. I was just watching Evil Dead Rise, the last one, and I was laughing.
Yeah. There's because and I get, like, I understand the psychology of it. Like, some people are trying to create these highs and lows in a movie or a book. And I think you can do that, though, without the one-liners or without the punchlines. I think you create those moments with, false scares and just moments of normal conversation, learning who a character is, getting attached. We don't, in most horror movies now, we don't really, even in books, we don't really get a chance to get attached to characters. Usually the only time you see that are in not like in full-blown novels.
And that's terrible. We need to feel empathy and understand a character, so that way we can understand the choices they make and feel what they're going through. So if they're afraid or if they're happy, it's like you won't feel that if you don't get to know the character and understand their background. I'm totally into, character building and world building and all of that.
Yeah.
So you'll definitely understand TL.
Yeah, for sure. Because we took, for those, and here's what I mean by getting my point across, by breaking the molds. Like when we started, Laurie and I started doing issues 4, 5, and 6. She was like, well, how quick do you need this to happen, or how quick do you need this? And like the first 4 and 5 is all character building, showing TL who she is as a person, what type of character she has, and then moving into the the stalking side of it through 4 and 5. She technically doesn't even get abducted until issue number 5.
Oh,
that part.
I was like, don't say it.
Yeah, no, we know it's going to happen. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's like I've already told people, like, that poor child is she's about to go through a living hell. So that's okay. That part's coming. Everyone needs Psycho Sal. He's not allowed to talk.
Chris is like, you're cut off. You're cut off.
That's not a big thing. That's a given.
We kind of knew that's coming, right?
Yeah. So, but my point is like we took time, because we could have just went straight to Slasherville. You know what I mean? We could have went straight to hardcore drama and pain and suffering. But we're creating, we're doing two things by taking these steps we're taking. We're showing the character building of TL, Jesus, who she is, how she is, things like that. But we're also showing the mental side of how Psycho Sal plays his games and the way he torments you mentally before he even takes you physically. So he's got your mind long before he's got your body.
It's messed up. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, when you sit and really think about it, in my personal opinion, that's what's terrifying. When you have someone that has so, I mean, don't get me wrong, someone taking someone's life is a terrible thing. But when you have someone that wants to break you down mentally before they do physically, that's a whole nother level in my mind.
And what I was striving to do is to have TL even question if it was happening or not. Because I think doubting yourself and questioning your own sanity is terrifying. You know, and at some point she says, you know, it's stuff is going on, and she's just like, I think this is happening, but isn't really concrete sure until stuff happens, you know.
Yep, exactly.
But it takes its toll.
It's terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've done wonderful. You know, I cannot wait. I'm so damn anxious. I cannot wait for you guys to get issue number 4.
Like, I'm really excited just to have people read that one and see what's in store. And then 5, for everybody that's interested in 5, William and I have seen the pages and we spent a lot of time fine tuning them.
Yeah.
It's gonna hit. It's gonna hit. It's gonna mess with your mind. And please look at all the details, because I'm crafting at this point. So everything that's in the background is there for a reason. Everything that happens in the first issue is happening for a reason. And it's all going to come to fruition in number 6.
Yep.
So
it's an emotional roller coaster.
It
really is. Because like I said, you know, because of that mind, like again, we're creating this universe and this storyline. That's, I mean, from the very damn get-go of book 1 with Chris, you're exposed to the lead FBI agent. Actually, there might actually be a squirrel in it. You're exposed to someone standing at in a cemetery at a headstone, and right out the gate, you're like already brought into this. Oh shit, what's happened? Who is that? Who are they talking to? You know, and then we start turning the heat up through every single page and then through every single book, and you know, we've done that, you know, through this whole process up to issue number 5. Chris, I sent you or I commented on that video earlier. Dude, if you want to jump on and chat with us too, because you wrote 2 and 3, I would love to have you on here also. I just didn't know if you had a game or something going tonight. So let me know if you want to jump on with us and I'll send you the link. Chris, for those that may not know, is the guy who helped me create the first 3 books and everything. And put words to my notes in chaos. All right, hang on. I know he does some kind of games, or he does like televised gaming, not gaming, but radio thing for sports.
Chris wants to know if there's a squirrel in the story. We haven't found a spot for a squirrel yet, but I think in 7, 8, and 9, maybe we can have like squirrel graffiti on the background somewhere.
Yeah. We got to do it, because
that would be funny.
I think, you know, Charter Comics is who the book is published under. And if you guys aren't following Charter Comics, you're severely missing out on some really cool books. Chris Hayes is an incredibly talented writer. He writes a lot of horror comics, but he also writes this new adult comedy book that's about a group of squirrels that are hitmen.
It's called The Nut Brigade. It is so funny. It's so funny. It's laugh out loud funny about these squirrels.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's so funny.
Yeah, so, you know, and we're trying to break the mold on that, because like I said, so many people try to do, you know, dick and fart jokes and all these one-liners and stuff in horror movies. And again, I don't really understand why. There's very few out there that kind of start with this, you know, lighter thing, and then just progresses into this where you're sitting on the edge of your seat trying to see what's about to happen. You know, Conjuring is a good example. They do that really well, where it starts out like this, and then, whew, you know, the gas pedal just slowly.
That one was a roller coaster. The first one was a roller coaster, right?
Yeah, it's great.
I do want to say though, I'm very proud of my first few pages in issue 4 where someone's puking on the panel. I was like, yes, the puke made it. The puke made it into the panel. I was like,
Yeah.
because when you read 1, 2, and 3, and you get to the culmination of that first like section, it's nasty. And I was like, people will be throwing up at this, so I'm gonna make sure there's puke on this page, and it's there. I was like,
and like I said, it's meant to, because these are supposed to be, you know, we're writing a comic book, and yes, we're writing a horror comic, but we're trying to create something, like I mentioned earlier, that hasn't been done. We're trying to break the mold where it's not just one-liners, because Psycho Sal is not Freddy Krueger. He is not Jason. He is not any of these guys making jokes, or you're feeling sorry for them because they were abused as a child, you know, whatever the case. Psycho Sal is meant to be legit hated. There's Mr. Chris Hayes. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, silence.
So that's, you know, and you know, like somebody asked me like why I chose the cover idea for Psycho Sal. You know, I one of the creepiest covers I personally have seen in the comic world, and it's a controversial cover, was the Joker cover, you know, where it was Batgirl and the Joker on Batgirl 41. And, you know, and people are like, well, why did you go with that cover? And I was like, because it's a creepy ass cover, and it shows someone at a moment of complete vulnerability. And it's meant to solidify that point. He's not a nice guy, you know. So, but Chris, let's you know, I want to get your opinion. You know, when you know, like I said, for me, I know where I'm trying to go with this, and I know what I'm trying to create with this character and breaking those molds that a lot of people have. Hey, what's up, John? About horror comics in general, because a lot of people kind of look down on it sometimes and things like that. And I get that sometimes it's, you know, you get people that are kind of caught up in the torture porn style of horror stuff, you know, Hostel and Saw, etc. You know, and we're trying to go back to a little bit more of that classic horror movie storytelling, where it's more about the suspense and more about the what's not there. So what, in your opinion, you know, with you writing books 1, 2, and 3, when I came to you with that idea and then let you kind of cut you loose on it, what have you thought about that as far as the approach that we're trying to do with this book, being that, you know, breaking those molds?
No, you're right, because all the movies now, and we're all 80s people. We all love the 80s horror because it's got a little cheesiness about it.
Right.
The one thing about it is all those stories always have the comedy guy, which I like doing too. I like having the one guy, like when we did the Ferryman, I had the one guy make the smart aleck remarks. It gives a little break from the thriller or the suspense. But in this story, there's none of that. There are no sarcastic comments. It's just straight through, like what you saw in the 70s. And that's where you're wanting to go with it. And between Laurie and myself, that's kind of how it's being delivered right now. And I like that. It's sticking to the genre that is horror, or that is a slasher killer.
Right.
I thought about that in one. I thought about literally having one of the police officers in the background when they first find the body, you know, in the rain, and she's crucified actually. But I didn't put that in there. I was going to have them make a couple of little snide remarks just for a little relief, because sometimes readers like that. Like you're reading something really serious, and then boom, there's some kind of little sarcastic comment, and it makes you laugh a little bit. But when you do that on a story like what's going on here, it will take you, your focus comes off of what's going on. So right now that hasn't been done, and I think we keep that route.
Yeah. What was you going to say, Laurie?
I was just going to say it's an increasing intensity. There is no break. It makes you feel anxious. It makes you feel uncomfortable, but that's the goal. That's what Psycho Sal is about, is once he picks you, there is no break. It's psychological torture, and then ends up being physical torture. So it's almost like this droning in the background that's slowly increasing in volume until it's overpowering and deafening. That's what this story is.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. And like I said, you know, I was bragging about you guys earlier on this morning on the video, because one of the things I love about you guys, and I'm so grateful and I'm so appreciative of it, sadly, sometimes I've heard stories where, creators will hand their concept, their ideas to writers, and then the writers kind of try to make it 100% their own, and it gets morphed into something that it wasn't. And I love the fact that you guys have been so respectful about that. And even because you guys have taken my notes and you guys have filled in the blanks, and then you guys added your own flavors to a lot of things and created this unique thing that I think that if it had been one of those cases where I was sitting down with someone who's trying to just reinvent it to their liking, I don't think it would have worked. Or if I'd have been just too down, no, it's this way word for word, or I just don't think it would work. But because I think the uniqueness of this character and the storyline, it has to be something, in my personal opinion, it's got to be something that evolves, that it's got to be its own living, breathing, type of entity. So definitely thank you guys for that. You guys have absolutely killed this, blown it completely out of the water for my expectations. Because I won't lie, when I first started, I was absolutely damn terrified because I had heard those stories. Hey, whoever you get to write this book, you better make sure they're this and this, or you're going to have all these problems. And I was like, holy shit.
No, hold on. Let's back this up real quick. So see, Laurie got this easy. See, when William and I met, we were at an expo or something. When we started talking about, we were doing a show together, and then a bunch of us all went to dinner over in Irving, and we're sitting in the same booth together. And we'd already planned. He's telling me about the story. See, Laurie, you didn't get this part. This guy pulls out the little black notebook from the 80s, right? That you would go into a bar and you would write all the girls' phone numbers down on, right? I think he still had that from his time when he was bar hopping. Yeah. This is what he gave me with, like, the whole thing was filled up with notes of the story. So I really couldn't deviate against whatever he was putting down, but it was hilarious. He's like, I got my notepad here. And I was like, that's from the 80s. That's what people took. Where are all the girls' numbers? Because this is what you used to write them down. But yeah, that's what he did. You didn't get the black notebook, but I got it.
I'm glad I got it off easy because you guys were already into the story and producing by the time I got involved, and I was like, oh, yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's don't let him fool you too bad. Like he gave me lots of feedback. You should try this. You should try, and I appreciated it. And I loved it because there's some tweaks we made to the story that was Chris's idea. And like I've bragged about this before, there's no way in hell if it hadn't been for Chris willing to take this journey, I'd still be thinking about it because, it takes so much time. People don't realize how much time it takes to create this stuff. Especially if you're trying to do it because it's time consuming. Even when I have a writer that's helping me and I have an artist helping me with interiors, like it's still extremely time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
So
we know.
Yeah, exactly. Like you fans listening, you need to really understand the chaos and the work that goes into creating just one damn book. But
Laurie's figured, think about that. She's coming off Path of the Pale Rider 5 that she just came off Kickstarter, right? 4, sorry. Well, damn, we got Psycho Sal 5 going.
I know. I know, but they're flying, aren't they? I mean, like 4 for me, 5 for William, and it's just like we're not stopping. But yeah. I mean, I just finished up that Kickstarter, and William's like, "Hey, you want to call and we can talk about 6?" And I was like, "Yes."
And here's the thing: Laurie's probably already written 5 of Path of the Pale Rider.
What's that?
So I said, you've probably already written 5 of Path of the Pale Rider.
I've written 24 so far.
Yeah, wow.
All right. Okay. But she's still going. So that's just it. On top of what she is already doing with her own series, it's very successful. She's taking a break and taking her mind off of that one and jumping and changing her direction on what she's doing and putting it into something completely different. I mean, hers is really cool with the undead and everything she's doing, but it is a different mindset to come in and do this slasher story or this horror story. And then she's got to refocus and go back to her story. And a lot of people don't understand that. It takes back, I mean, mine is not as difficult. I mean, I can go from killer to killer squirrel. I mean, it's not that difficult, but I don't know. I mean, it's fun because I like, which I give a ton of respect to Laurie, because you've written 24 issues of one series. There's no way in hell my mind can go that. I can't do that.
Path to the Writer will be 36 total.
Wow. Oh my God. No, there's no way I can.
Jesus,
but then it's done.
Okay, but see, now
the ending has been written. Like once we get to 36, it's going to be the biggest fanfare, what do you call it? Fan service. I'm aiming for like a Breaking Bad ending. You know what I mean? But since I know the ending, we're moving towards it every issue. I hate fluff. I hate filler. So it's going to take me 36 issues to get to that ending. But everything is going to be action packed and poignant and important because it leads us to that point. And I love doing that. I love pouring in extras. I love pouring in small details, and I love making the story so layered. So you read it the first time and you see one thing, you get to the end and you're like, wait a minute, I've seen that somewhere. And you go back an issue and you're like, aha. And then you're like, now this means something different now that I've read it again. That's my goal, is so that way every time you read it, you pick up something else, you see a new detail. And Psycho Sal is no different. You're going to see things the second and third time you read it. And I'm super excited to do 7, 8, and 9 with Chris.
Yeah, that one, and that one's going to be real interesting because Chris handled the intro to the book and the telling this story from and a lot of people, like, they've asked me what the hell made you want to do these perspective changes, and I was like, because in the way I look at it is, there's 10 issues on this first storyline, and the first 3 books are told from the lead FBI agent's perspective, Victor Gray. But when you tell a story, even though it's a slasher movie, horror movie, you're dealing with death and murder, when you're telling it through the eyes of like an FBI agent or a policeman, a detective, it's a very detached way of reading something. You don't know those people, you don't know them personally, you just know the FBI guy or the cop or whatever the case. You don't know the victims. And like I said, breaking the mold of the way horror stuff is done. I wanted to be able to do in the comic world, especially. I wanted to be able to bring people in where, you get a little bit exposure, you seeing the murders after the fact, or and now we switch that perspective to where we're riding along with TL, and now you're like I said, we're taking the time to create this story of who she is, how she is as a person. I mean, she's a college kid, working her way through college from a single mom family. Her dad died when she was super young, and her mom never remarried, and she's got an older brother, and she's living in New Orleans going to school, and she's working as a bartender on Bourbon Street, and she works at a hospital.
So, it's like, at some point you need to stop talking because you don't want to spoil the whole story.
Yeah, well,
see, that's why I put the comment.
Chris is like, stop talking.
Well, everything I'm talking about is just who she is as a character. It's not spoiled. It's not spoiled. So, but we've taken the time to do that and tell that, and then we brought you on. Like, I could have had Chris write issues 4, 5, and 6, and he'd have done a wonderful job. But I really wanted to sell that perspective change, and I think the only way you can do that is by having a different writer, because everybody writes different. I mean, it just doesn't. I could give him the same script that you would have, and you guys are going to experience that and view that differently.
Because we see things differently. So you go back to, this isn't our creation. It part is, because it's our minds too going into when we're writing it. But when you look at this, the character is your creation. So when you do that, then I love the idea when you first came up and said, I want 3 different writers. At the beginning, you were like, I want 3 different writers to do that. Love it, right? Because for one, as a writer, you don't also get burned out on doing a story that Lord knows. So, right. So your mind's not completely focused on that one story saying, okay, I gotta get this done. I gotta write 10 issues of this. Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes it's not, because your mind's like, where am I going to go? So you get a break. So when you're doing 3 issues, break, and then Laurie's going 3 issues in her mind on the way she sees it and the way you're giving her some direction and letting her run with it, break. And then you come back to where we've already had a couple discussions. on what we're going to do together.
Yeah.
I mean, so we're going to go 3 issues together. There's a lot of different ways we can do this. I mean,
we're going to do 4 now.
Yeah, it's 4 issues.
Yeah, he brought 4 up out of the blue today, and I was like, "Excuse me, where'd 4 come from?"
No, it's
excuse me, but I'm not going to complain.
No, I'm not either.
When Chris first asked me if I would be interested in getting involved, he's like, "Hey, we got this series. We're changing writers every 3 issues or so to break the perspective. Meet William. You're going to be at Cowtown. Talk to him about the series and see if I put your name in the hat and da da da." And at first, when I heard what you were doing, and I was like 7, 8, and 9 are from the serial killer, I want those.
I've had a few writers tell me they want those.
Right. And I was like, I really want those. And then Chris was like, well, I kind of want you for the female victim point of view. And I was like, all right, I can see that. All right.
Yeah. And it's because I needed a unique perspective instead of just because a guy could write their perspective and a lady could write a guy's perspective. But again, at the end of the day, there's still going to be these unique little moments that is solely for that person. That makes them who they are, their experiences, how they can relate to it, how they can tell the story. About 2 months ago was when I decided that I'm going to have to do 4 issues on his perspective, because there's some in stuff that plays into some other stuff that I can't really talk about, which I think Laurie already knows that. I think Chris might know that. I can't remember. But I can't mention none of that because it'll give away way too much.
Yeah, like, don't bring it up.
Part with the squirrel.
It's the squirrel. The squirrel did it.
He's got a side.
You got to say.
Squirrel. What's up, James? So he's got a pocket squirrel. He just doesn't tell anybody. But
no, it's like Ratatouille. It's under his hood.
Oh, it's under his hood.
He's right there. Hold on. Okay. There he is. Right there.
Right up there. I see him.
Yeah.
So and sadly, I can't tell anything about his perspective, because the way it has to be written is going, in my personal opinion, I think will legitimately be the first time ever in comics, period. And I'll get with, I can't remember if I explained this to Chris yet or not, but I talked to you about it. And I talked to McLean about it. So I got to get with Chris if I hadn't mentioned to him, because it's going to be a unique situation where 2 writers are working on the same section of a book.
Well, I think, one, I know we will work together well because we have the same sixth sense of humor.
Yeah.
See, I almost said that. We both have that twist in mind. I literally have some ideas to where I want the reader cringing and wanting to pick up the phone and call the HR department.
Yes.
And I laugh because I like those moments too. And
exactly.
Then there's me killing off like the random innocent character, and people are like,
exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, when people, like I said, that's one of those things that I explained to Chris and I explained to Laurie from the get-go. I was like, nothing about Psycho Sal it cannot be likable. It cannot be relatable. It cannot be, look at his poor childhood. Like, I don't want none of that bullshit. I think the most terrifying thing walking this planet is someone that could do the things Psycho Sal is doing to people for no reason whatsoever. No trauma, no mama issues, none of that BS. I don't want there to be a cop out. I don't want anybody. So, and when I explained that to you guys, like, what did you guys think about that when I first came to you guys? Said, this is how Psycho Sal has to be. The moments he's in, it has to be moments where people are going, I hate this bastard. I hate everything about it. Because I want people uncomfortable. I want people looking in the back seat of their car when they leave a building. I want people reading this in the dark at home and they hear a noise and they start freaking out. I want people who walk out of a damn building at night that are paranoid and watching everything around them instead of staring into their phone. So what did you guys think about that? Because even when you look at horror movies or horror comics especially, there's not really anybody out there for the most part that's like that. Maybe little bits and pieces here or there, but what did you guys think about that as far as that character idea?
Chris, you go.
Yeah, I mean, you roll it all up. You want it terrifying. I mean, that's what you want. You want Go back to the 70s when Halloween was made.
Yeah.
That's how they wanted Michael Myers. He was terrifying. He hadn't been killed 13 times yet. He was terrifying, right? When they looked at him, when they created him, they want people scared on Halloween. They wanted people scared of Michael Myers. And now he's become this cult icon. He's still cool as hell. But hey, Shikari.
Hey.
Well, did you see the new cover? Anyway,
shiny things, Chris.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, very much. But Myers was supposed to be a terrifying figure. There was no comedic aspect to it. It was a killer. Yes, goes back to his childhood, and all that. And I just watched it again the other day. Even if it was from the 70s, it was bad, but it was still awesome. Yeah. But if you were in the 70s and the first time you saw that movie, you were terrified of him as a killer. They were terrified of that movie. That's what you want out of this. That's what you want people thinking. Just like you said, you want people, in their mind or thoughts in their mind, because you're like, how can I put this? The Strangers. I still think that the movie, The Strangers, is a scary movie because one, it can actually happen to anybody.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Just as it happened. They torture.
You gotta love the line. You gotta love the line from The Strangers. Why are you doing this? You were home.
That's it.
Yeah, you were home.
How terrifying is that?
Yeah.
We're doing this just because you were home.
Here.
Yeah, we have nothing else better to do that night than torture and kill you. So,
hi, Ed.
Hello, Ed. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
I felt when you were saying he needs to be the baddest version of everything on the walking the earth, I was like, freedom.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we write characters that are nuanced and empathetic and like you said, like has a past and people can relate and maybe they're not the bad guy. And I was just like, oh, this is the baddest guy on the block.
Yeah.
And I get to make him, thanks. It's totally fake. You like my fake piano? It's great. So I was like, he's the baddest guy on the block and I don't have to write him a tragic backstory and I can be as bad as I want to be. That's freedom right there to just be able to go deep and dark. And Chris, you've taken him deep and dark already in issue number 3. I think we got to see the most of how Psycho Sal operates until we get into the later issues. And I think we just scratched the surface of what he's capable of.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be dark. It's the freedom to go dark, which is great.
Yeah.
Well, you go back to 3, and me and William had a call, and I said, "Hey, I got an idea on 3, and I want to go this direction." And it was funny because he goes, "Hey, that's why I want to talk to you because I have this idea that I want to do with them when we have the girl in the warehouse." And I'm like, "Yeah, see, I want to really bring things with that knife in and have him whispering." And he's like, "Oh crap, that's exactly what I was going to say. I want him, I want the reader uncomfortable." Yeah. And I'm like, "Oh, see, that's where I was going with it." And when you start doing that, and then you took it over and turned it up another level with what you've got going on, then it's just all coming together.
Yeah. I agree because I like I said, I grew up watching horror movies, and like you said, now true 80s slashers where you started to see a lot of the stuff where the one-liners and the sad backstories. But when you go back to 70s, like, when you're dealing like the original Halloween, like even in that one, when his parents came home at the start of the movie, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen that damn movie. But,
spoilers, it's from the 70s.
Yeah, exactly. When he killed his sister, and then he walks outside and he just sits there with this absolute blank face, look on his face. There was no tragic childhood. His family was normal looking family. Rob Zombie, when he remade it, was one that gave it this tragic backstory of him being in this abusive style house with just loudness, that was way scarier in that sense. And then you look at movies like Last House on the Left, or I Spit on Your Grave. You look at movies like that, that's some terrifying ass shit. And that's what I wanted. I wanted Psycho Sal to be on that level. I don't want I don't want anybody reading the book getting the giggles.
Yeah, they won't get the giggles from this, we promise.
No.
You might chuckle with anxiety, like, hey.
Yeah, that nervous giggle. So with Chris, like I told you guys, Chris is an incredibly talented horror writer and writer in general. By creating a character like this and creating a story concept, because we broke, like, one of the things I talked to Chris about, I didn't even want the normal mold of what serial killers to be left alone. Like we've completely shattered that. Psycho Sal, before anybody chimes in with any type of woke bullshit, he doesn't care whether you're male or female. So just because that one cover, has him, being that way to a female, or this particular storyline with these 3 books deals with TL, when you read the first damn books, like it's balls out from the get-go, because there's already been like 4 murders, and 2 of them were males and 2 of them were females. I remember when I first told Chris that, he was like, I was like, it's going to be a little different. This guy has no profile. He hunts this way, this way, this way, and it doesn't matter about none of the rest. And Chris like, oh shit, do you think that's a concept? Because I know I've personally never seen it happen in any of the books and movies I've seen. There's always, whether it's real life documentaries or whether it's TV, movie, comics, there's always been patterns that some people are safe while others aren't. Do you think that truly does up the fear factor of this type of book, when the person committing these heinous crimes literally could grab anyone at any moment? That there are no patterns, there are no profiles, nobody's safe kind of scenarios? Either one.
I was like, should I say, or do you want to talk, Chris?
Yeah, speak up. Feel free.
I really think it's terrifying, because if you don't know how to stop it, and you don't know if you even fit the profile, you don't know if you need to be extra careful. You don't know where this person is. The only thing that they know for sure is that this person is operating in New Orleans. Yeah. That's it. They don't know how, they don't know who, they don't know what. And if you've been reading the stories, you know what little they have to go on.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's
nothing to go on except he's wearing a mask.
That's it. And he comes out in the rain. That's it.
There you go. Yeah.
He leaves a calling card where they have no clue what it means. It's just nuts that, and there is meaning, and that we will find out eventually how he operates, but we just have to get there. But it's just such a wild ride. And I love the fact that it's like, it could be anybody, but this is the person that we're showing right now in this time. Right. So you get to see how he operates with Tony, and then we'll move forward from there. And eventually you will know all the things. You just can't know them right now.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much underneath, like, we can't talk about, because, there's this whole underlining story, and we'll slowly reveal that as we go. And Chris, like, when you start writing horror comics in general, how do you approach them in your writing process? To just kind of talk about the writing process a little bit, like whether you're writing your own project or you're writing a project for someone, like, how do you approach it when you start trying to figure out how you want to handle that concept?
Funny thing, because I just started a new one today. So,
plug away. What's the name of this one? Got a name yet? Or
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've got all that separated. Already had my outline done a couple of days ago. Already got one cover being worked on. I'll get with you on another. But
awesome. Okay.
This one, I'm in my attention span, or probably because I got all C's in high school. Doesn't go past me writing 4 issues of anything. Now, Nut Brigade will be different, because again, I can do what I want and say what I want, and I don't care who I offend in that book. Yeah, I just don't care, right? If they're squirrels, right? Blame it on the squirrel. It's cartoon squirrel. So, and I'm even going to have Laurie do an issue or 2 for me. We talked about it. Nice. Because that one's going to be multiple. And I've had other people go, I want to do an issue in Nut Brigade. Fine, do it. When I get there, we'll do it. You do whatever you want. I don't care on that one. That's all for fun. That's just let yourself go and have a good time with it. But this one,
please tell me you're going to have at least one squirrel in there that doesn't know what he is, and then you need to respect his pronouns and shit. Please tell me you're gonna have that squirrel in there. He has to be. He's got to be
done.
It's already been done. Oh, that's
number two's. Hey, number two's done. McLean's already got it. It's already colored. McLean's already got it lettered. It's done.
Oh my God, nice.
Here's my thing. This was my goof up on Nut Brigade 2. It was completely done. It hit so fast to being done. We were working on other projects. McLean goes, "Hey man, Nut Brigade 2's done." "Oh, cool. We can launch it." He goes, "Yeah, we don't have any covers." I'm like, "What?" We never went out and got anybody to do covers. We had Lacey Kruger as a cover, and Kim Salinas. And I was like, "Oh crap! Okay, so let's start working on some covers." He just told me this the other day. I was like, But between that, we're working on another psycho thriller called Waiting.
Oh my gosh! I hired Gilbert to do something for me. Secret.
I saw it.
Did you?
Me and Gilbert are buddies. He's drawing.
Isn't
okay,
it?
so he drew Waiting. He's insane, man. And he showed me the zombie thing.
Quiet.
All I said was zombie thing. Your whole book is zombies. So
this is true.
He showed me a zombie thing. That's all I'm going to say.
Thing.
And it was freaking incredible.
Insane.
Now, who are we talking about?
Insane what he did. So Gilbert drew Chris's new series, Waiting.
Okay, I'm terrible with names, so I'll have.
He's an interior artist. He did some ink work and stuff on Miles Morales.
New series.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, he's freaking good. And this thing he did from Laurie, I was like, oh my God.
He was like, "I really want to do something for you," and it's like we were just Kickstartering 4, so it's not like I had work to be done. You know what I mean?
Right.
He was like, "Can I do a cover?" And I was like, "Maybe." I'm like, "I don't have any covers for a while." Because after 4, we're doing a trade paperback. Mm-hmm. So even after this campaign or next campaign, we're not doing any variants. And I was just like, man, what else can we do? So I came up with an idea of how to get him involved, and gave him my ideas, and man, did he run with it. Just nuts. I exceeded my expectations. Totally.
That's one thing I got to start looking for, because, we've done all these perspective changes with the writings, and then we're doing this, meshing of 2 writers for 7 through 10. I'm thinking real hard about changing interior artists for Psycho Sal's 4 books. But if I
have thoughts on that.
Do what?
I said, I have definite thoughts on that. I was just thinking about that today.
Yeah.
But I don't want to share it live. We'll talk about it behind the scenes.
Because, that's behind the scenes.
Yeah. I want to talk to Chris about some ideas too of how we're going to tackle the story.
I got to find someone, like, if I do that route, like, it's got to be a very unique style, and I'll talk to you guys more about that to try to figure that out. But because, like I said, the whole point of Psycho Sal is trying to break those norms. I've got to use the same writer through the whole thing, or I've got to use, levity to sell a book, or I got to use TNA to sell everything. I mean, yeah, there's no doubt about it. I could have done classic, one-liners and TNA all through the damn book, and, it would have sold like crazy, because there's a lot of people that love that. But, like, I definitely want to make sure that we had something a bit more unique, with it. But the same question to you, like, Chris, I got sidetracked there talking about the squirrels. How go back to that question?
We were talking about Gilbert. We were talking about this interior artist.
Yeah. No, I'm talking
using this artist.
Approach. You're right.
Yeah, I just, I have to get in the mindset and put my mind into that. What's the story going to be about? I already have the outline of what way I want to go, because, a lot of mine is one shots. That's what I like. I want to write a story that's in my head, and I want it gone. I want to get it out there, have it drawn, have it colored, everything, and then get it out there. Waiting is a one shot, but it's like a mother's whisper. It is a psycho thriller. It's cool. The interiors that Gilbert did are great. Nice. Literally, it's going to be mature reading. It's the first time I've ever put nudity in a book, and there's just, I had to, because this girl going, it's called Waiting, Wading. So this is going to be a girl in a pond, so I have to have her undressing to get into the pond. Now, I'll give a spoiler because this is the part that I just had to do because it's me. It is a psycho thriller. It's going to be kind of creepy, but there is the part where these panels that Gilbert drew where she's undressing. Laurie, you'll appreciate this. Looking out of the bushes is going to be one of the squirrels from the Nut Brigade smiling, watching her get undressed. So we'll see if anybody even catches it, but it's an Easter egg in there. Just
one, I want to know. Hey, John, what's up?
Yeah, it'll be Scooter, one of the main guys. It's just going to be smiling like, hey, girl, But he's not going to say anything. He's just going to have his face there. But that was that whole part of break your focus on what's going on, But anyway, so I did that.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, so I did that. And then we did Ferryman Tales Presents The Road. That's a one-shot about a country western singer.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Guess what? That book was 16 pages being drawn. Our interior artist fell off the face of the earth. She's gone. We don't know where she went. Maybe Psycho Sal got her. I don't know. She lives in the Philippines. She's gone.
Probably on all the fans.
So I don't know. But Gilbert is redoing that book right now. So he is starting over, taking what she did. They have the same style, and he's doing that book. So
that's going to be a good one too. I remember you telling me about that one. For those that don't know, the Ferryman books. Let's talk about that chaos for a second. Then I want to get Laurie's thoughts on how she approaches the writing. For those that don't know, the Ferryman series, that is like one of the biggest. Like in my personal opinion, it's been one of the biggest selling indie books that I've noticed. Because you got Don't Pay the Ferryman, you got the Ferryman Origins, you got the Ferryman Tales, and then the most recent one was the Ferryman Valhalla.
And that took off. Yeah, Valhalla took off. So the Ferryman stuff is fun to write. So this one is another one shot with the Ferryman called The Road. And we're actually going to do a dual Kickstarter of Waiting and Ferryman Tells the Road. I'm like, well, I can't do back to back because we're like between Laurie stuff, Carissa stuff, Richard's going to have stuff, you got stuff. We're like, where are we going to fit in a Kickstarter that we're doing? We got another kids book coming, so we're like, where are we going to fit this in? So me and McClure were talking yesterday. We're like, let's double up. Let's put them both together on a Kickstarter. They're both horror stories. They're both psycho thrillers on this one. Let's roll them both together. And I'm like, oh, I like that. So we're going to roll these two together probably next month on Kickstarter.
Nice.
And then we'll roll those two out. And then we've got Nut Brigade 2 ready to go, right? Just going to get a couple more covers. It's ready to go. And then I started the new one that's been on my mind for over a year. Finally decided I need to do it. It's called Shadows at the Midnight Fair. So,
great name.
I killed that title. Yeah, me and McLean were back and forth with that one, and that one just came up, and it was just like boom. We had 3 other titles, and then we were messing with stuff. And when we said that one just, Laurie, you disappeared like a glitch in the Matrix.
I know. I was like, whoop.
Yeah, but we came up with that name, and that one was like, that's it. There's no, that's it, because I'm not going to say anything about the book. I'll tell you 2 offline because William, this will be a cover I'm going to need. But this one, this one will probably be 2 or 3 issues. I'm going to have to do it that way. But yeah, this one I'm going to leave it at that. But I'm really excited. So I sat down and started writing some of it tonight. So when I start writing, and everybody's different, but when I start writing, I'm playing it out as a movie in my head. When I'm writing, it's actually a movie going on in my head, and I'm watching the movie happen as I'm writing. So that's how I write. And then I'm just like Laurie, I'm sure. I'm writing pages, and I'm writing dialogue, delete, write it again. I'm 3 pages down. I'm like, well, that sounds like crap up there. I don't like that. Let's go up page, delete it all, and then start over again. I don't know how many times on some books I've gone in and I've told McLean, man, this is how it is. This is how this one's going to end. Oh, yeah, it sounds cool. Great. I start writing, and I get to the end, completely change the whole story. And I've done that. I don't know how many times on books where I've completely changed the guideline and the outline and the notes that I have written down for it, that I've completely gone off kilter. So I think I'm all over the place when I start, because I'll start with some notes like what you gave me on Psycho Sal 1. I'll get in the mindset, okay, I got to go. It's quiet. I'm going to start writing. and I'll just start writing it with all the dialogue. And I may change it a few times. I may get completely done and then go back another day, the next day, and change 6 or 7 pages, like wipe them out completely and redo the dialogue, because once I go back and reread it, I'm like, I don't like how that sounds. I don't like the way the story's going. It doesn't make sense to me. It did the night before, but it doesn't today. So I may redo it. So I don't know. I'm all over the place. Mine's just a few notes, and then I just start playing it out in my head. And then that's just how I've always done it.
Yeah. Well, I know when I gave you the notes for Psycho Sal on the first book. Well, actually, I think that notebook may have had everything for like close to the all 3 books. Maybe, I can't remember. It was a lot of pages, to be fair. They were itty bitty pages though, but still, in my old black book. But because I know when I gave you those notes, and we sat down and we talked about it at the Comic-Con, and shit, I don't think it was like maybe 4 days, 5 days or something. You handed me like, okay, here's what I'm thinking for issue number 1. I was like, okay, shit, that was quick. And I started reading it. I got a little worried, but then I read it and I was like, oh shit, this is really good. Like, I mean, was it just one of those stories that you were able to nail right out the gate the way you wanted it? Or
as long as your mindset's there, yeah, and Laurie will attest to this too. If your mind's right and you know where you want to go with the story, you can start writing. You can literally, on some of my stories, I've got a beginning and I've got the end done. It's the middle you have to fill out. And she's other sick she goes, you have to fill the middle. This is where I may go delete a few things. So I'll start writing. Like right now on the Shadows at the Midnight Fair, I already know first 15 pages. I'm already going. And then I get to the middle part and I'm like, oh crap, what am I going to do there? That don't sound good. Let's take a break. Let's back off. So literally that's what happened. I was like, I'm going to step away. I'm going to take a breath for a minute. And I just happened to go, oh, let's check, see what's going on. Sports. Oh, William and Laurie. Oh, okay. I popped on and here you guys are. So you guys are a nice break for it. But this one, I'll have written by tomorrow. It'll be done. So completely.
Yeah, I know when I did my notes, like I get it. I'm not a writer. For anyone that might be going, oh, why don't you write your own shit? I'm not a writer. That's why I don't write.
People said that too.
And so I mean, I can sit there and like I can give my ideas where I want the story to go, or what I want these these very very important spots to have happen. Even if it's just sections in the front and the end and a couple of things in the middle. Like I know there's certain things I need to happen. I just don't know how to get there from A to B to C. So you guys, what you do is incredible to me. I mean, especially taking, like, even in the sense of taking, you writing your own stuff is one thing, but you're taking the notes of someone else, and now you're trying to generate this connection, this masterpiece of writing off of my BS and my terrible notes. And that's mind blowing to me that you guys can do that shit. Because
that's what we do.
Twisted minds.
I mean, but that's we are a little twisted. Let's be honest, but that's what we do, and I think that's fun. Where it's like, William and I just had a phone call, for example, and we were talking about where the story starts, what's important in it, and then how it ends. So, and again, same thing. Like now, I have to fill in the blanks, but I also have to give it flavor. I have to add the intrigue. I have to add the jumps. I have to add the emotion into it. So I basically have an outline. I don't usually go through and delete 7 pages at a time.
Like, damn, that's a lot of work.
But what I usually do is I'll write down, I use 3x5 cards, which is interesting. So I'll rearrange the story because it's 3x5 cards. So I'll write down what I think, would be interesting. And a lot of times I'll change the position for pacing, stuff like that. So I don't necessarily delete stuff, but I do walk around like a crazy person by myself, speaking the dialogue out loud to see how it will sound. So I put headphones in so people think I'm either singing to music or I'm talking on the phone, but I'm really just talking to myself with my dog. So if people see me, I'm sorry, I'm working on a story. So
yeah, I mean, I've done that with cover art. I mean, there's been times where I draw something completely done, like it's done. And then I walk away and come back later and I go, okay, I don't like it. And
no.
like there's a cabinet over there full of cover designs I've laid out, 6-7 hours worth of work that I go, okay, I don't like it, and I start over. Now the retailer hasn't said shit. You know, the indie guy that I'm doing the cover for hasn't said anything. That's just me. So I get that about deleting the pages because it's a lot of work sometimes that you just gut.
So I will get stuck. Like sometimes I'll get to a point and I'm like, I don't like it, and I'll need to rework it. But like Chris, I'll be like, I need to go walk around. I need to focus on something else. Do something for a little bit, daydream, stare out the window, and eventually it comes. I love it when you get the inspiration and it's just like, this is what we're gonna do, right? And then it just comes right out. You know what I mean? That's the best moment. It's like, you know, being on drugs, but you're not. Drugs. We don't condone drugs here.
What do you guys think about in the state of comic books right now? Lord knows we get caught up in the variants and stuff like that. And I don't have an issue with people having variants because, Lord, you know, I do variant covers for people. I don't have an issue with people doing a lot of variants on their Kickstarters. I like the idea of there being variety. And you guys do the same thing. You'll have multiple different artists doing covers for you. And do you think, when you think about, for anybody who might be thinking about doing a Kickstarter, you know, because in my personal opinion, what we do at Charter Comics, especially with Chris's books, with my books and with yours, Laurie, you know, we tend to have the tendency to have the book pretty much done before we even turn the Kickstarter on. I know me personally, you know, and I know Chris has done it too, where we'll have the book 98% done, and then we turn the Kickstarter on, like it's already been handled, monies have been paid, expenses have been covered, and now we're just hoping and praying that the fans show up and show love to our Kickstarter so we can recoup the money. If you got people out there that's thinking about starting their own Kickstarters as a writer's point of view and stuff like that, and creators in your own right, do you think that that's something that they, whether they need to save their money or whatever they need to do you think that's a smarter way of doing it and approaching it in both scenarios? The case of adding a few key artists to your project that can help bring some attention to it, and you know, having more of your book completed before you even start the Kickstarter, so you're not super delayed, you know, because sadly we got some Kickstarters out there right now that still owe people books from 2 years ago or a year ago. And I think it's completely disrespectful. But how do you feel how important that is in those two categories of trying to do that?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, ladies first.
All right. Variant art, I think, is a necessity. Because like you said, it brings in more variety. I love to do very different covers. I will have typically 4 variants, and usually I will have 1 or 2 up and comers, and I will have 2 professionals is what I try to do. So I give people a chance to do something different. One of my favorite guys that does cover art is a graphic designer. He did that cover that Chris that you got for the Big James cover, and he did the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly cover, and he did the Christmas Tree of Doom. So his covers always sell, and he's a graphic designer. You know what I mean? So giving people their chance, but I also like bringing in people like William, who has a following and will help me promote and can help me succeed. And we're aligned, you know what I mean, within Charter and within our ideals of comic book making. So we can bounce our projects off each other's audience, and it helps both of us. So, and I get kick-ass covers. I get Western covers. I get not suitable for work covers. I can get all the cool covers that I want because I have those professionals who understand what my audience is looking for. So I think, you know, variants in some way, shape, or form will help bring in more people, help you find a larger audience. When it comes to having a lot of the comic book done, I think we would all prefer that. But I don't know about you. I probably have less of my comic book done than you guys do when I launch. We go until the money runs out, and then we have to wait for the money to come in, and then we go again. but we always fulfill, and we have a track record. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think
that's so important.
Fulfilling and communicating with your backers exactly where you are. So I've had times where, like the printer delayed. I had a colorist disappear. But the key is to always have a plan B and to keep moving forward. We're never going to quit. Marco and I always hit our deadlines. And it's a matter of finding the right people to build the team so that way we can continue and we can become streamlined. So the longer we do it, we're going to keep, like we brought on Matt Chambers, which you guys have both, you're both familiar with. Matt Chambers does beautiful work and he's reliable and he communicates great. And he really is a great asset to the Path of the Pill Rider team. So now that Matt's on our team, we can go a little quicker. See what I mean? So it's learning who to bring in the project and who is reliable and who will help you grow, and how to collaborate. So I think, me working with William and William working with me, and it's like, I even built Easter eggs for the Path of the Pill Rider readers into the story of Psycho Sal. You're going to find a Jude in the story and you're going to find a Dwayne Fink in the story.
Yep. And I agree with you. I think that's super important, especially if you're going to be especially under the same umbrella. You have to be promoting one another. If you're under the same umbrella and you're not taking advantage of the access you have, whether it be other talent that's under that umbrella that could help you with your projects, or especially the cross promoting. If you're under someone's umbrella and you're not cross promoting the other people's content, you need to bounce. But same with you, Chris. Like, how do you think that is super important for how people approach their Kickstarters with the same question?
See, I do. I agree with everything Laurie said, and we follow the same track record there, I believe. With the books that I do, or me and McLean put out, pretty much they're done before we launch a Kickstarter. That's just, and I agree. I know there's some people out there, there's some Kickstarters I backed, they're over a year old. I know a couple of Kickstarters that have ended earlier in the year and they have no money to fulfill their Kickstarter, but the Kickstarter money's gone, but they can't put up the books. And I'm like, it goes back to what happened. No, I don't. What did you do with the money? Where's the money go? Right? Oh, it's just one of these where you hear, and that scares people sometimes. I think all of us have a good track record on Kickstarter. People get their stuff. The only thing that drives me crazy, and all of you know this, if somebody doesn't fill out their survey and you never get their address, or they don't answer their email, and you're sitting on holding their books for 9 months, and then they send you an email. I never got my stuff. Well, hell, you never sent me your information or where.
Like, how can I mail it to you if I don't know where you are?
Yes, I can't. So you don't leave us a bad review because you failed on your end. Thanks for the money, but you failed on your end to let us know where to fulfill your Kickstarter package. And that happens with all of us. There's usually one or two. And if they're new, that happens. If it's somebody you've shipped to, you just go look them up and ship them out. That's no big deal. But yeah, I've been a part of that. I'm a part of that now, waiting on a couple of Kickstarter books that well over a year. It's been funded, no updates. You hear nothing, and you're just like, okay, well, I'm not getting that book. So about $30, $40. Okay.
I love going to Pastime and trading books with Chris. So I'm like, here's this. And he's like, and here's this. And I'm like, high five.
Yeah. Well, and then you go back to variant covers. Well, I'm a cover guy. I know on Valhalla, I went out of control. I think we did 10 covers, and I wasn't even thinking. It was just like,
oh my gosh.
I put it out. Let's do a cover. Well, beautiful. A lot of the guys want to do covers on Ferryman stuff. And I'm like, yeah, go ahead and do a cover. I wasn't even thinking. And then I had a couple of guys turn in covers that I didn't even ask to do a cover. And they're like, hey, I know you didn't ask me to do a cover. I want to do a cover. We're not charging you. Here you go. Okay, great. And the covers are great. But that just adds to it. But, you know, I don't know. I think you got to have covers. It's hard to get by with just one cover on a book because people now, even though they love your story, they want the artwork. And
they want the exclusive.
Exactly. So I also like using, and here's again, I get messages just like, sure you guys do. Hey, you ever going to use me on a cover?
Yep.
I don't have the room. What's your rate? It's blah, blah, blah. God dang. Okay. I got 4 other people with high rates too. You have to budget sometimes. So, and you're not trying to hurt people's feelings. You can't put them on a cover. And we all know so many cover artists. There's so many artists out there that I would love to have 20 books, 20 covers on every project, and have everybody I know do a cover, because they're all great. They all do great work. You can't do it though. And then I hear, well, you use the same people on all your covers. I don't know. I use the same 2 or 3 guys a lot because they get their stuff done. They're reliable, and they hit a deadline. That's important.
And it sells, and people want to come and get it. If people want it, we're going to provide it.
Yeah, they have big followings. They promote the book. They help push the book. You want to see that too, not just one post. Hey, I did a cover. Come see me. Okay, they're done.
Yeah.
So then you get that too, and then so that goes back to that with your covers. And what was the other one? You had another question on
you hit on it. We were talking about people finishing the books. Is that a smarter way to do it, to kind of finish your book at least 75% or more before you launch the Kickstarter? But you commented on that. So
and I love using we've used the Alan Qualls. Love his artwork, right?
Yeah.
I'd use him on every book if I could. But again, he's a Marvel and DC artist.
Yeah.
He is so busy with his deadlines, right? But one thing I love about Alan, he will make time for an indie project. If he has time and he has enough time, I can message him and he'll be like, hey, when would you like this? Give me your time frame. Okay, well, I'm busy till February of next year. Okay, book's coming out in December. It might have been September. Yeah, I can't do it. Okay, I'll catch you on the next one.
Right.
You will get guys like that to say, hey, I'd love to do a book for you. I can't do it till 6 months down the road. Maybe we look at that as a retailer exclusive. Okay, great.
Right.
Because we have retailers that'll do that.
David Sanchez is one like that too, where I'm like, I don't know what your calendar looks like. And he's like, well, I'm busy until such and such. I'm like, okay, catch you on the next round.
Yeah. And he's one, and he knocked out our Valhalla cover was great. And he got that done. I caught him at the right time because he was just starting all those New York Comic Con commissions. And me and McLean talked to him, and he just had enough time to get that Valhalla done. And then he did the 12 or 14 commissions that he had 4 weeks to do before New York Comic Con and get all those sent off to the group that bought them in New York Comic Con. So I was like, it was like perfect timing right there. And I was like, I don't know how he did it, how he got everything done, but he did. But yeah, he's another one that stays busy, and you have to reach out early.
Yeah.
But then it goes back to all the people that we know. Like I said, they all do great work. We always have projects, but we can't put everybody on every project.
Well, there's also, and you can, feel free to, whether to share your thoughts on this too, both of you. To going back to people that want to work on our projects, I get messages every other day from artists saying, "Hey man, I'd love to do a cover," or "Hey man, can you squeeze me in?" Let me give a little bit of my thought process on that. For any up and coming artists or artists in general, or that might be interested in doing covers for people. So let me tell you how I personally view it. First off, a lot of people need to eat a little humble pie, because if you come to me and you say, "Hey man, I love seeing your book. I would love to do a cover for it," and I go, "Well, okay, what's your price to do a cover?" Like you mentioned this a few minutes ago. And you go, I need $500 to do a cover. Like, okay, what covers have you done? Oh, this will be my first one. Okay, newsflash for you, Cupcake. You're not a $500 cover artist.
He called him Cupcake.
I'm sorry. You're just not. I don't give a shit how quality your art is. You're not a $500. Now, I'm not going to argue with them about it. I'm not going to tell them that. So now I'm speaking in general. I'm just kind of speaking, open with everyone here. I'm not going to tell that person. I'm just going to say, "Oh man, I appreciate your time, man. I'll give it some thought. Thank you." So I'm polite to them and nice to them. I'll never tell anybody what they, directly. I'll never tell anyone what they have to charge. Right?
Well, they know now because they're watching the show.
Well, at this point, I don't give a shit. Some people, because I want to see people work. I want to see people grow. I actually do want to see people get work. I do want to see people get exposure. And I don't, and I'm one of those people, if the money makes sense, I'll pay your money. I will never, ever argue your money when it makes sense. I've paid $800, cover artists to do covers for me. I've paid $500 cover artists and $400, but it has to make sense. There has to be some published work there. There has to be a following that I know I can generate my money back from, right? So, if you're an artist and you're wanting to do covers for people, you have to keep that in mind. If you're brand spanking new, no matter what quality you are, you don't have a following. You don't have a published work library that fans have been buying. So you got to keep that in mind. And we're indie creators. Not everybody has $700 to pay someone or $500 to pay someone. They got to spread it out over, I've done covers where there's, 8 cover artists on it, So keep that in mind. And then the other thing too is if you come to me and you say you want to do a cover for me, and then I go look at your page, which I promise you I do, and I look at 6 months worth of your postings, and it's, cry me a river this, and woe is me, this depression and anxiety day, and I need my crayons and my puppies and all this other shit, and I don't see you posting art, I'm not going to hire you because you have no proven anything on your Facebook that shows me you're doing the work, So, I know that sounds a bit harsh, I'm sure, but that's the reality of it is if you want someone to hire you, I need to be able to look at your page and see you constantly posting art. That proves to me that you can do the work, that you can do the deadline. Do you think that's an unfair or too harsh way to look at it? And feel free to be blunt, but
no, Laurie's got to go run an errand.
I have to put my kiddos to bed. They have school in the morning.
Oh, okay. Yeah. If you need to go.
But I would say I agree with you. Usually when I'm shopping for artists or people approach me wanting to do art, of course I will ask for page rate and make sure that they're in my budget, right? Because if they're like $800 a cover, I'm like, I can't afford you. Like I want to do 4 covers. I can't just do one. So I'm looking for it to be in my budget. I'm looking for what kind of social media presence you have, if you're willing to help promote. And then again, I'm looking at your resume because I want to make sure that you're completing what you are supposed to be. When you have someone like a David Sanchez who's done, I don't even know how many covers for big names. That's what I'm looking for, is someone that can make something beautiful and has a name built and has an audience, and that is going to say like, hey guys, I'm really excited about this project. Why don't you come check it out? And we'll say it a few times, especially when I'm campaigning. And then of course, people that are excited for project. I love people look at my stuff and be like, oh, this is kick-ass. I definitely want to, everybody wants to draw the bear, right? Everybody wants to do Psycho Sal. Everybody wants to draw Big James. So it's the same thing, but it's like, where else can we go? Look at what's happening in the issue. And if you can think of something that I think is funny or dark or thought-provoking, let's do it. You know what I mean? I want to explore those other things besides, Big James is great. Right. Everybody's going to buy the Big James cover because he's a giant undead bear, but where else can we go? Let's do more, So that's kind of the things I'm looking for. But I do have to run.
Do me a favor real quick. Promote yourself. Tell everybody where they can find you. Tell them about where they can find Path of Pale Rider, and then I appreciate.
He was close.
Thank you so much for hanging out.
Give me your address.
Path of the Pale Friar. No, just kidding. Path of the Pale Rider. You can find us all over the place. We just finished Kickstarter number 4 for issue number 4, so we're going to be pumping that out pretty soon. You can find us on Facebook. We have a group called Path of the Pale Rider. I have an Instagram and a TikTok, both at Path of the Pale Rider with an underscore between all the words. We're on, Twitter, which is at Path Pale Rider. I have a YouTube channel at Laurie Calcaterra 360 where you can see all like the short films and the extra stuff that we do. You can go to the webpage and get all the information about us as well. It's www.pathofthepalerider.com. If you go to YouTube and you just put in my name, Laurie Calcaterra, there's about, 100 interviews on there that you can see me talk about the project. Of course, I'm on chartercomics.com. Go check us out. You can get a ton of our books there, including, I think we have the Choose Your Own Adventure book on there as well. Yeah?
I think so, yeah. It all links back to you. So you go to Charter Comics page,
okay.
Click on your face, or they click on your picture and Path the Pale Rider. It links to your website. So
there you go. So you
But
can
it
get
gives them
all of
an
that
extra
stuff.
click on where to go. Yeah, to find
Yes.
you.
Yes. And of course, please go look at the Kickstarter for Psycho Sal #5. I guarantee you the story is going places that you've never seen before.
Yep.
It's thought-provoking, it's heartbreaking, it's terrifying. We're gonna go there.
Yep.
So don't miss out. 4 is almost to you. You get to start reading the story, and then Chris and I are gonna I don't know, we're gonna blow
Ooh.
your mind when we get there.
Yeah, that one's going to be insane. Yeah, I cannot wait for those. I've enjoyed it all. But yeah, thank you so much, Laurie, for hanging out with us and
Yeah.
being a part of Psycho Sal for sure. Thank you for chatting with the fans and stuff like that. And absolutely love you guys. You guys are badass. So thank you, Laurie.
Thank you guys. I love you both. I'll see you
Bye,
all later.
Laurie.
Bye.
Cookies. Bye.
I'll send you cookies. Bye.
Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, because I see, like I was mentioned a few minutes ago, Chris is the same way. Like I know this is super rare for some reason in the indie world. Like, we actually do want to see people succeed. We want to see people's dreams come true. We want to see people get, writing jobs or cover jobs and all of that. And I mean, I'm sure you kind of approach it the same way, right? When people come to you and say, I want to do this, I want to do this. I mean, what they do behind the curtain matters a lot, in my opinion.
No, it does. It does matter a lot. And Laurie hit it on the head when she says, hey, I want to see how you're going to promote, what you're going to do. And, budget plays a big role in this. There's a lot of people. I am literally about to put out for the new book, that Shadows of the Midnight Fair. I already have you locked in on the cover spot. I have Salinas locked in. Hell, he's almost done with his, and he's not even due for a while. But that's Ken. He works like you. But Ken's part of Charter. Like, he's one of the members, founding members. So he's on every book. So, and people have asked me about that. Well, you always use Ken. Well, Ken's an owner. I mean, there's a difference, right? I mean, kind of works that way. So, but I'm going to have multiple covers on this book. I'm about to put it out and post it. I'm looking for cover artists. I need your budget, what covers you've done, and there's going to be a lot of people to go for. But what people won't understand is our budget. What our budget is, we can only afford so many, right? So I can't take everybody. It's not out there to hurt anybody's feelings if we don't pick them or that we don't like their artwork or we can't use them. It is. Budgets get tight. It's an indie. You are like me. You've spent $4,000 or $5,000 on one book.
Yep.
That you got to recoup, and you hope to recoup some of that on a Kickstarter. But then they'll take it. Okay, now we're paying. Then we got to print the books. That costs quite a bit of money too. Yep. And then we're shipping them out. Yeah, shipping's paid for on Kickstarter. We get that, but they don't also understand that Kickstarter takes a percentage of funds out of what is raised, right? So you don't get all the money that's raised. So when you do, like me, we don't ask for a lot on Kickstarter.
Yep.
I'll usually put $1,000 on there. That doesn't even cover half of what it's cost for covers and interiors and colors and lettering. It doesn't even go into account the printing yet of what it's going to cost to print. So usually when a Kickstarter funds, and I think I've done 22 successful Kickstarters that have funded, after you sell books and everything, you'll break even. That's your goal, or you start getting to the profit. The Ferryman books are always in the profit. The other ones, you just hope to break even on. Yeah. Even though you fund successfully on the Kickstarter, that doesn't mean you're still negative when you get your Kickstarter money because of it doesn't cover everything that's gone into it. That's what a lot of people think. Where people are always like, man, I'm thinking about writing a comic, man. And I'm always like, if you're into it to be a millionaire,
oh, you better go find something else.
Not going to happen. You're 99.8% not going to be there. Now, it can happen because there's so many good indie stories out there. Literally 2 hours ago, I sat there and read Tynian's new Dracula, Universal Monsters Dracula, issue 1. Came out today. It was great. It was really good. And he took that forte where he even said in the back of the book, he came out a year ago and said he's not writing. He was done writing for somebody else's creation, right? He does some killing children. He does his own stuff, like he did Batman. He did other stuff. So but he took a gamble, and I guess they paid him or whatever. Of course, they paid him, but he did this book. It was really good. Issue 2's coming out. Martin Simmons did the interiors. They're creepy. It's a great book. He's a great guy. He's a great writer. So, but when you look at what you're having to do, because you fund everything yourself, right? Yep. Out of your pocket. And I know some of the issues, your Kickstarters have pulled $3,000, $5,000. You've spent more than that on the book by the time you've had to pay everybody, and you hadn't even broke even yet, even after the Kickstarter money's come in. By the time you get the books in your hand, you ship everything out, you're already in the negative. Yeah. But after selling them at shows and stuff, you do build that back up and you break even. And any extra project you do, like everybody, like Laurie and us, we just put that toward the next project. So,
right. I mean, and people really have to understand that, because pretty much every single one of Psycho Sal's, because I kind of swing for the fences coming out the gate. I've averaged about the first 4 books, I spent about $4,000 to $4,500 per book. That's what I was out of pocket for creating the book. Then it was another, $1,000 or so, give or take, to ship the book. So I've been, knock on wood, I broke even pretty much. No real profit or anything, outside the first book. Everything else is just kind of break, and I'm happy with that. I'm cool with breaking even. Or if I, gained 100 or I lost 100, whatever the case, I'm fine. But people really do have to realize there's a formula to the Kickstarter thing, why we're putting $1,000 to fund or $1,500 to fund. So for those that don't know, from the way algorithm works on Kickstarter, when you have those huge percentages over your funding, so when you put $1,000 to fund my project, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing but other than that algorithm. So when it shows you're, 200% funded, 400% funded, it kind of helps you a little bit with the algorithm. Not much, but a little. Because I mean, really and truly, like issue number 5 that's active on Kickstarter right now. And guys, make sure you go back Psycho Sal number 5, share it out, show some love, especially you comic shops, retailers, everyone that I promote your stuff and talk about your stuff, show some love. But that book, I'm right at 5K in that book. And, and if the fans don't show up and don't show love, you're in some trouble. And you take too many of those hits to the chin, and guess what? You're done making comics. So you fans are so damn important to this whole process, even all the way down to just the simple shares that you guys give us. But you definitely please understand and realize, when you look at our thing and it says $1,500 to fund, it's going to cost me, when this Kickstarter ends, it'll cost me, $1,200, $1,300 just to ship all the books. That's not counting any of the, almost $5,000 that I paid to have it all done, So, yeah. So when you guys
pay to have the Kickstarter built, you pay for lettering, you pay for, I know, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, Fans keep that in mind. That $1,500, that $1,000 funding thing on Kickstarter, that is not what it costs to make that book. So
no, and that's what but that's, if people didn't have a passion for creating those stories, then they wouldn't be out there. So, I mean, I look and I've got 12 books behind me that I've written, and that's not even, I think there's 18 total. I just ran out of frames, actually, where I like to hang up just different covers. But on every one of those, there was a Kickstarter done. But, every one of those books, it's, in the thousands to do. And any kind of little profit goes to the next project. But sometimes you just break even, taking a loss on a couple of them, but that's part of it. And I know that going in. I know that, hey, this isn't going to be a big selling book. But you know what? I wanted to write it. I wanted to get it out there because it was fun for me to do. Mother's Whisper, I just wanted to do. Was creepy. I loved it. And that book took off. And I was like, I didn't think it could do that. To where another book I thought was going to just explode, just like went right down the toilet bowl, man. I mean, just tanked. And I never did the second one because I'm like, I'm not going to pour that money into it. I thought it would do. I put a lot into it. A lot of artists, put a lot of fees in the interiors were great. Covers were amazing. And it just died. And I was like, well, Even though we promoted the hell out of it, it just wasn't there. Even at shows, it didn't sell. So that tells me, okay, that one's not going to have a following, but a few people, nobody's even come out and asked about issue 2. So that tells me right then, okay, it was fun to do. I liked it. Probably going to kill it. All right, it happens, So I move on to other stuff. Psycho Sal's going to keep going up. Everybody knows it's got an end, right? So they know, issue 10 is going to be the end of it. So you're going to have that loyal following. You're going to keep picking up people at shows every time you go out. I sell it on my table. McLean has it on his. All your cover artists, when they're out there, they have it. Laurie has it on her table. So people are going to keep promoting that book, which is good. And that's what you want. You want everybody that's worked on the book, when they do these different shows, you want them promoting that book because that's more eyes on it, even if it's small shows in little towns that none of us really go to. That's newer people that have never seen those projects. They'll be like, oh, this is number 4. Well, do you have 1, 2, and 3? It sure do, right here. They're going to pick it up. Then they're going to start following back, Kickstarter 8 because you want them to. So,
it definitely.
I don't know. You got to have a passion to write the stories. Again, if we were novelists,
different.
It's easy. There's no pictures. You're not having to pay for coloring. I know. I mean, T.D. Phillips has taken a Ferryman book. I know what it cost him. He's told me. And Lynn Kelly, I know it's not cheap. It's not in the thousands to start off like creating a comic because you don't have all the interior artwork and stuff. But again, it's a lot more in depth. I'm not a novel writer. I could never be. There's no way I could ever sit there and write a novel. Don't have the attention span to do it. Don't have that kind of creativity. Those guys are phenomenal. When they can sit there and do that and the detail they can put in, I can't do that. I don't want to do that for one. But I always said if I didn't write comics, I could have taken, year-long trips around the world 3 times if I wasn't creating comics.
Yeah.
I would recoup all that money back. But
it's definitely pricey because there's some, it's definitely got to be a passion thing because even when I sit back and I look at Psycho Sal and like I said, issue 1, I had almost $4,000 or just a little over $4,000 in issue number 1. Most people don't do that. I was like a psycho with it. I was like, no, I want this and I want this and and now of course I'm not a rich person. That's got nothing to do with it. It's just I grinded my ass off in other areas, commissions and other cover gigs and all of this, to fund those books. But I was terrified and knock on wood. And all because of the fans, people have really kind of latched on to Psycho Sal. And again, I was terrified at first because I was like, should I do this? Because we know horror is a smaller niche market anyway. And then even inside horror, it's pockets of smaller niche types of fans. You know what I mean? Just because you're a horror fan doesn't mean you're a horror fan of every type of horror that's walking. So you're aiming at a niche market in a medium that is already, it's an even larger niche market because you've had Marvel and DC and Image Comics for so long beating down horror, claiming that it don't sell, we don't produce it, it's not worth our time. And and then here over the last maybe 8 years, 5 years, something like that, horror's kind of jumped up.
It's not even that. It's been literally about 2 years
that
we started seeing the books coming in. Now indie horror's been out there, not a lot.
Right.
It's out there. And it's crazy because we'll still do horror shows and find the indie comics, indie creators, they don't write horror. There's just a lot of people that just don't like doing it. And I'm like, oh my God, I love it. I don't want to do anything else.
Well, it's that smaller niche.
Besides a comedy book, but the horror genre, they're few and far between, but you're starting to see them, just like the new Dracula book, the Universal Monsters that Kanyan just did.
Yep.
It's good. It's sticking straight to, the story was good. And it's sticking straight to what it needs to for that horror genre. He did a great job on it. But you're starting to see more of that pop. Marvel launched their Zombies Black White. Came out today as well. Which the interiors on that book is insane too.
Vampires. You know, so DC launched, their DC versus vampires.
Yep.
Image Comics started doing a bunch of stuff. What, haha, Ice Cream Man. Then we had those other books like Something's Killing the Children from those other companies. So horror's definitely jumped up over the last couple of years, which I'm glad to see. Because I mean, like I said, when I first started thinking about what kind of project I wanted to do, I was nervous as hell about the idea of doing horror. Because, like I said, it's a smaller niche market. And then even inside that market, it's those pockets of, I like this horror, but I don't like this horror, because superhero shit, dime a dozen, and it's easy as hell to do. TNA books, dime a dozen, easy as hell to do. But when you start getting into that horror market, that's a nervous market to be in.
Yeah, there's Matt down there in Chambers. All his work is horror. I wonder why, Matt. So Matt has colored every book I've ever done. He's been our colorist on the interior. So, and we won't change. I mean, that's the guy that you're talking about deadlines like you have and Ken has. That's Matt. That's a guy you always want to have because you never have to worry about.
Yep.
Will he finish? When will he finish? Communication. And you just don't have to worry. And those are the guys you want around you. So you know your book's going to get done. And that's an integral part of it because, you can I've done black and white books, my very first ones. But when you take, he's coloring waiting right now. I guess they let him out of the closet to work on that because usually we keep him padlocked in a little closet, coloring books. Man, but you get somebody that loves horror, just like everybody we work with that are in that genre, they're going to put a little bit more into the work. Because they're into that. If you got somebody, all they do is anime and you give them a horror book to draw, they ain't putting, that's not their style. So you're not going to get 100% of their work out of it.
Right.
Oh, they did let you. Okay, that's good.
And that's something else for like any new up and coming, whether you're an artist, a colorist, a writer, you guys have to understand deadlines matter. I'm not concerned with what baby mama drama shit you got going on. I'm not concerned with what anxiety stuff you're dealing with today or depression issues. And I'm not saying that to be a mean person. It's just, this is a business. And, we're here to meet deadlines and get stuff done. And money matters on those deadlines.
You don't need a timeout room at work. You don't need one mental day.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need a middle day. Somebody that hurt my feelings today on the internet, I don't need 3 or 4 days to recoup from it. And that's something people need to understand and need to realize. No matter what facet you work in, you got to put that 110% in if you want people to use you on a regular basis and give you steady work. You got to be able to meet their deadlines. You got to be able to suck it up. Oh, I don't feel good today. I don't want to work. Well, unless you're hugging the toilet, puking your ass off, you need to sit down and work. And again, I know that sounds kind of harsh, and I'm not saying that's a pattern you need to have all the time, but I mean, for the majority of the time, you have to be meeting those deadlines. And that's why, I'm sure that's why, like Chris said, he uses a lot of the same people over and over. That's why I use some of the same people over and over, is because I trust them. I know they'll meet the deadlines. I know they respect what we're trying to do, and they're gonna treat it as their own. And that's the way you got to do it, in my
opinion. Yeah, hold on, I'm checking something. This is some sick news that just got launched.
Sick news? Is that what you said?
Not sick nudes, sick news that just popped.
Oh, you got news turned on your phone?
Yeah, this is true. Jesus Christ.
What happened?
About 30 minutes ago, there's a mass shooting in Maine. Maine, out of all the places. Makes me wonder, 16 people are dead.
Jesus
Up to 60 are wounded. Suspects are still at large. They're now at 22. They're now at 22 confirmed dead. 50 to 60 others shot. It's all over the place. It's popping everywhere as of 20 minutes ago. Okay. They did get a. Wow. Okay. Breaking 16 dead. They went into a bowling alley and opened fire.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm telling you guys something. Y'all can talk this shit all you want, but y'all better start learning. If you're not carrying, you better start learning how to carry.
I have mine all the time. So
yep. I carry too. Y'all better start. Like I understand some of you guys may not believe in guns and you may not like guns, but I'm telling your asses right now, with the amount of mental ill people walking around, whatever damn personal issues they have, and this whole acting out shit, y'all better start carrying. Jesus. Wow.
A lot of people came over the border too. That's going to start a bunch of crap. So yeah, it was at multiple locations, as James says, and they're not done confirming people that have died. They're at 22 right now. But yeah, it's and now it's pouring down. That's in Maine. Nothing happens in Maine. That's like Vermont. You just don't ever hear about anything going on in Vermont and Maine. So yeah, who knows? It's sad.
Let me give you guys a little piece of advice as someone that used to work as a bouncer in a club and then worked security in the casino worlds for a long time too. Y'all, look, I get that you want to go out with your family and have a good time, and don't stop that. Don't let people fearmonger you into sitting at home. But guys, start paying attention to your surroundings. Start sitting facing a door. If you're in a bowling alley, pay attention to what's going on around you. Pay attention to who's walking through doors, what they're wearing, things like that. Don't be afraid to call out shit or, make things known if you see something weird. Like we were taught in especially as a bouncer, you want to make sure you're as invisible as you possibly can while watching every damn thing around you. And you guys have got to get in the habit of that. This whole damn setting with your face buried in your phones and shit while you're sitting in public, y'all got to stop doing it, man. Like, and you never know when that could actually damn save your life, where you see someone walk through a door that's got something in their hands they shouldn't have. Holy Jesus, man. Y'all better get something and start carrying and learn how to use it.
That's one of them on the video, the bowling alley. James is right. There's probably multiple shooters. This guy looks like John Bernthal from The Punisher. Motive's not known yet. They just need to put a bullet in his head, or torture him for a while. But yeah, it's popping all over. It is all over the place. They're sending multiple care flight helicopters in.
Wow.
They're still saying there's 50 to 60 injuries. Could be more, but now they are confirmed 22 are dead.
Jesus Christ,
man. So
wow.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, it was blowing up all over my phone on notifications. I was like, what is going on?
I don't have none of that stuff turned on my phones. Wow.
So,
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, back to the fun stuff.
Yeah, holy Jesus. Well,
but yeah, you have to do that when you eat. If you're with your family and you're a man, you should always face the door.
Yeah,
not your wife facing the door unless she's an officer or you should always sit and you're facing the door and you're watching everybody that walks in and out of that restaurant for safety reasons. Because these are the days, you just don't know. There's too much shit going on in the world.
There's way too much. There's way too much mental illness, like legit mental illness running around.
That's true.
Untreated. Then there's the whole damn brigade of let me run in here and shoot up this school or shoot up these people because it'll help people understand how guns need to be removed. With that type of thinking. You're on a whole nother level if you really think that if you remove legal guns, that you're going to stop all this. You're absolutely insane if you would believe that shit. That's what's terrifying, James, and holy shit, because my God, the damage. Like if any of you guys have ever done C2E2, MegaCon Orlando, New
York, San Diego, God, you're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of people involved.
Thank God they really do. Like, again, I've been to some of these big shows. I've seen how they handle people walking through the door. They're searching every damn bag. They're checking every damn supposed toy weapon. They're looking in everything. but Jesus Christ, dude, like people got to start paying more attention to what's going on around them. You men, I mean, I hate to say it as a sexist thing, y'all need to wake the hell up. If you're not paying attention in any damn restaurant or club or bowling alley or whatever you might be standing at, you're severely putting yourself and other people in danger in this day and time. I mean, and don't get me wrong, all of you should be paying attention, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. Funny, James, you put that up, and that's changing with us at Cowtown next year. Because we moved it to Dickies, everybody will be going through a metal detector.
Yep.
Metal detectors, and there'll be which we already had armed security this year at Cowtown. We had 4 walking around, but next year there'll be more at Dickies because I love it. Dickies requires it. They'll be armed police officers, metal detectors. That's just their policy. So I love it, and I'm like, I have no problem. So that's vendors included.
Because I don't have an issue with it. Like I don't have it. Like I don't like some people want to be. Even I'm a legal carry gun owner. I don't have an issue with them. Like here, like if I went down there right now, I could go down there and buy a handgun or any other type of gun, and my background is clear. I don't have, and I could walk out of that event, that facility right then with my weapon. Like I'm a big believer that I ought to have to wait at least 7 to 10 days to even pick up my weapon. Like I'm a big believer in that because you never know when you have that one heated moment where Joe Blow is pissed off at his wife. And he goes down there, can pass a background check with no problems, pick up a damn handgun and go home and use it. So I know I'm not doing shit wrong. Is it a bit time consuming that I have to wait 7 or 10 days to go back and get it? I don't have a problem with that. I'll happily do that. So it's across the board for everybody. If I have to go to a Comic-Con and not only are they searching the fans coming in the door, bags, persons, etc. If they got to do it to us vendors and artists and creators, I don't have a problem with that either. Sometimes people need to suck up this shit. Oh, you're violating my anus, and get the hell over it. That's not a big deal. So I mean, I don't have any. I wish they would search every damn bag, every damn person that walked through every damn door. I'm one of those people. I think damn schools ought to have armed guards in them. I don't give a shit about your false illusion of freedom. I would rather see armed guards standing at the doors. You know what I mean? So yeah, this shit we've got to start looking at it in a different way. But taking stuff away from legit citizens that's where you're about to screw up, and the government's about to lay hard pipe to you.
That'll never happen. They're trying for years. It's not going to happen. So that's all fluff talk, but. That ain't gonna happen. But anyway, now back to the fun stuff.
Yeah. So back to.
But I would say if I know you picked up the Dracula blank. I know you said you got one of the 2 of the blanks, but you need to read it before you draw on it. You need to read that story.
Yeah, I definitely will after.
Man, the interior artwork by Martin Simmons. It's creepy. Yeah. They nailed it. It's that old, almost like a color splash, almost watercolor look to it, but man, it's cool. It's freaking cool. It was a good read. You'll like it.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Especially you like in Universal Monsters and Dracula and all that. You'll enjoy that. So,
all right, cool. I'll definitely check that out. It should.
Yeah, you'll knock it out in 15 minutes. So there's a lot of not a lot of dialogue in it, which he let a lot of the storytelling in the pictures, which I liked. Like on 2 different pages, there's no dialogue, which is really cool. But when you get in there and start reading it, you'll like it. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but
so it's not.
There's a couple of throwbacks in there.
Okay, so it's not like a retelling, like they just rehashed Bram Stoker's Dracula, so it's like its own thing.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah, I'll definitely check that out. I need something new to read anyway. I mean, I haven't really read any comics in 3 damn years. Hell, to be fair, this may come as a shock to people. I haven't sat down and read Psycho Sal since issue 1.
Why not something you should say live on your own book?
Other than the initial script, what?
Probably not something you should say live on your own book. Just saying, people are like, why should we read your book if you're not reading your book?
I know what's in the book. I know you're going to love it. I know I love it because I read the script. But yeah, surprisingly enough, I haven't sat down and actually read the actual physical comic. I've read the script, so I know what happened and everything. But I just haven't had time to read anything.
See, I've done the same with 4. I've read the script Laurie sent me on 4. I have the actual copy right here, and I've read 5, the script, but I haven't opened it and read it yet. So, but I already know what it is and what's happened. I read the final script. So.
Yeah, we already know what's going on, and I'm sure that's what kind of takes that away from you. Like I've already read the script. I know what's happening.
Exactly, that's what it is. But what'll be good too on that one is when all 10's done, you turn around and put it into a graphic novel.
Yeah, and we will definitely do that because the first run is 10 books, and Psycho Sal isn't gone after that. It's just that's what it is for that storyline. Because I want to jump on that other book that I'm planning to do around the first of the year, Cycle of the Blood Moon. So, and that's a whole different ballgame. That's like 20 books, and that's a whole different multi-character type of book. And it will have some humor in it here or there. So that'll be a little different. But anyway, I know. Do what?
No, you're good. I was going to say, you're talking about cross-promoting earlier. So I'd already talked to Laurie, and I'm going to do this with Psycho Sal. There is a part coming up in Nut Brigade 3 to where one of the squirrels is running by a warehouse, and he's going to be on a window ledge, and he's going to look in, and it's that scene from Psycho Sal 3 where he's got the girl in the chair, and he's got the knife rubbing on her. And he's just going to have this wide-eyed look, the squirrel, and he's looking in and seeing Sal from behind. And you may just see Sal turn, see a little bit of his mask, not going to say anything, and then he's going to run off.
Yeah,
he just leaves it alone.
Like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell? That's some kinky shit, and just keep going.
Yeah, he just keeps going. That's it. But I have the same thing with Big James in one of the Nut Brigade issues. They're going to be sitting around talking about a myth of a zombie bear.
Oh my God! That's fun.
Yeah, well, in all of our books on Nut Brigade, on the bottom of some of the pages, we have a squirrel holding up a sign, and he's always saying these sarcastic things, right? So what he's going to have is there's going to be a QR code that takes you to Psycho Sal, and then there's also going to be on another page with the Big James story. It's going to take you to a QR code that takes you to the Path to Pale Rider website.
That's cool.
If they scan it, so it cross promotes like that.
Yeah, because I did that on the Cowtown Comic Con exclusive cover for Psycho Sal #2. On that cover, there's a detour sign that says for the book that you did called The Detour. So there's a detour sign that says New Orleans, this way or whatever. So yeah, maybe I'll throw one of your squirrels in the background on one of the street scenes. Like maybe have him holding a little sign or something that says the end is near.
Oh my God.
Shit like that. just random little panel, like the small little thing that, if you blink too much, you'll miss it. But like he's in one little panel in the background and it's just a little squirrel holding a little sign that says the end is near. Cause you always see that character in a lot of books and movies, in the background. I mean,
yeah, it's always the guy in the raincoat that's just standing there with either the sign with the billboard sign over his body, walking, and he's in tons of movies. It's just a different guy always doing it, or they're holding a sign. I end is near. That's all it is. And you could do that with one of the squirrels just standing there in the rain. I mean,
I could put him sitting next to a bum on the street, like a bum that's sitting down on the side of the street, and then have it looks like he's got a pet squirrel, so to speak. And it has one of those double billboard signs on, and and he's standing there next to the homeless guy, and it says the end is near. Yeah, I definitely have to work that in. I think that would be freaking hilarious. But you got to cross promote. There's we said this before. The table for everyone is so large now to sit back and go, oh, I can't promote that guy, or I can't promote that project or that comic shop because I do this stuff too, and they might steal my business. That's just impossible now. As long as you're doing quality work, you're doing great customer service, they ain't nobody stealing your damn business. There's enough room for everybody now.
No, agreed.
Chip in the background.
God, yeah. He gets introduced. Chip gets introduced in #2.
Oh, hell yeah. We passed the 4K.
There it is. We're on day 1.
In 9 hours. So that's awesome. But is Chip the one that's like got electrocuted a lot? Is that the one you're talking about?
Okay. He's the slow one that they use to go test the power lines before they cross them. So he comes in issue 2. You see him for the first time ever, and he's pissed off that he's in issue 2 because that's his first appearance. To where most first, he got left out of issue 1, and he makes it known. He throws a big fit about it to the reader and gives his story. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Matt did a great job coloring it. It's messed up, man. Issue 2 is messed up, man. We bring in Punxsutawney Phil.
Oh my
we've got hookers, we've got pimps, and that's what we've got. It's all over the place, issue 2. So as we get closer to launching it, I'm sure we'll do a big show about it. But it was a lot of fun.
We should do, what we should do for a cover for that one, since you got the character. We should do Bill Murray from Groundhog's Day and him holding up one of the damn squirrels, this isn't Punxsutawney or some shit like that. Just have Bill Murray, maybe I'll put him in there, him with the sign on it, and he'll say like the end is nut near, like he's stuttering. Some shit like that. But
Chip's messed up, man. We've got a special cover for Chip that Ken did. I'm gonna get with you on a cover of that with the Bill Murray cover. I may have to see if somebody could draw. That'd be interesting. Like I said, I got a couple. I think Matt's doing one on this issue. I wouldn't have a lot on 2. Man, I need to though. There's so many ways to go on issue 2. Like I said, Lacey did one. She did one, which is really cool with Chip. But the thing is, everybody's going to want to draw Chip. Once you meet him and see how messed up he is and the shit he pulls, that's the stuff people are going to want to draw. So I'm going to be like you with Laurie, when everybody wants to draw Big James. You're like, there's a team of 8 of these guys. We all have. I got headshots of each of them now as well. There's solo headshots that our interior artist did. She just sent them all over. We're going to do cardinal and all that. I'm like,
oh my god, do Chip as a mad scientist with another squirrel laying on a slab, and it's a throwback to the 1940s Frankenstein. So you've got the electrical machines and shit in the background, and Chip's got his hair going crazy, and he's like the mad scientist screaming, "It's alive!" And you have like a female squirrel hooker like on the table. That would be a great cover. That would be a badass cover. Yeah,
you want to do that?
Huh?
You want to do that?
Oh hell yeah! I'd be glad to do it. Hell yeah! Classic damn black and white Frankenstein. Like I said, like that classic shot from the 1930s Frankenstein where he's on the table. It's got the electrodes and everything behind him, all the science, lab equipment, and him screaming, "It's alive!" and it being like, instead of Frankenstein is, it's like, one of those squirrel hookers that he put together. or you could do a human. You could do a human hooker. Actually, that would be even more like, kind of creepy.
I like the "It's alive" because what can happen is we let McLean letter the "It's alive" on the cover, right? Because he can copy that. See, I'll send you what all the squirrels look like. Maybe you take one of the other squirrels, and that's what's laying there, like Chip's got them strapped and laying there, and I'll have that other squirrel cussing or something, saying, "Let me out of freaking," you can play with Franken nut. There you go.
You could do like you do with the "Do You Poos," play with the wording a little bit. Yeah, exactly. It's alive, and then like in the lettering, classic Frankenstein lettering from that movie, right? Franken nut, or you could go Franken nut, and then right up under in small writing, brigade, something like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, when we get off of here, I will restart and I'm not going to go live, and I'm going to invite you to it, because then I can pull the pages in and click the pages and show you what the characters are and you can look at Matt's coloring on it because they're insane. And then when you get to Punxsutawney Phil, you'll be like, "What the hell happened here?"
Bringing the pimp squirrel's name.
Yeah.
I think that would. Oh, dude, I think that would be a great cover. Whether it's one of the other squirrels, like maybe have him whispering or whispering like he's mouthing, what the fuck, and dude screaming, it's alive, and he's chained to the table. Or if you, like I said, if you did like he actually built a human hooker, like Frank, remember that movie Frankenhooker?
Yeah.
From like the 80s or whenever that was. Yeah, that'd be a great cover. But yeah, we'll definitely talk about that here in a second for sure. I'll take a look at some of that. I think that'd be a hilarious thing.
All right. Well, I'm gonna bail out and then go start a StreamYard and then bring you in.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, because we've been going like 2 hours. But yeah, thank you so much for jumping on and sharing your thoughts and everything about the end, the Kickstarter side of it, and of course talking about Psycho Sal and things like that. I definitely appreciate you doing that, man. And of course, thank you for being part of Psycho Sal and helping me, bring this myth of a creature to life. Thank you so much.
Okay, not a problem. It's fun. I enjoy it. We're going to keep it going. So I'm going to back out and I got to go restart. So.
All right, do me a favor real quick before you bounce. Give them your info, like what you got coming up, where they can find you, and that stuff real quick.
Chartercomics.com. Well, not Charter Comics on Facebook.
Yeah.
You can go. I mean, almost everybody on here already follows me and friends list me, and I'll post.
Right.
So we've been quiet lately on the Charter Comics Facebook page. We've been quiet because quiet is good on our end because we've been swamped, and that's a good thing. And that's not just with McLean building your Kickstarter, getting everything done, getting some covers done, but not only with yours, with Laurie's Kickstarter ended. Richard had one. Jason Turner has a Kickstarter going right now as well on Ripper Jean, which you've done covers on. So that's another one to go follow and check out. Yeah, there it is right there. Look at you already ready to go. So that's William's cover with Freddie and oh my God, what's his name? The other serial killer. Oh yeah, Ramirez, Rich Ramirez. The Night Stalker guy. It was funny. Somebody asked me today, "Hey man, how's your vibe?" And I said, "Dahmerish," because that's how I was feeling at the time. Not that I wanted to eat anybody. I was just I was in that mood to just pretty much put a couple people in the refrigerator or other. But I'm gonna start using that line when they ask me how I'm feeling. Dahmerish, because but yeah, Rich Ramirez and Night Stalker. Anyway, Charter Comics Facebook page. You're already friends with me on Facebook. You'll see, but you'll start seeing us post a lot because there's a lot of stuff coming. It's just been building up. I already gave sneak previews of it today. We got all these Kickstarters going, but there's a lot more about to happen. There's a lot of books coming. That's usually how we do it. Is we're quiet for a couple months, and then it explodes, and we're about to have 4 that I've written just come out fast. So we're excited about it. But okay, well, I'm gonna get out of here, and then I will see you in a second.
All right, thank you, brother. Have a good one. In a minute. All right, guys, awesome. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thank you guys for visiting during the show, asking your questions. Guys, make sure you follow these people. Make sure you're following Charter Comics on Facebook. Make sure you're following Laurie Calcaterra. Make sure you're following Chris. Make sure you're following McLean. These guys are some of the top notch in the industry, as far as I'm concerned. They're constantly putting fans first and putting out quality work. Making sure the energy matches. What they're trying to produce consistently. They don't half-ass anything. They're not shortcutting anything. They understand the fans make this industry possible, and they're constantly showing love to you guys. So make sure you're following them. Make sure you're supporting the projects they're working on if you're not. And as far as Psycho Sal is concerned, issue number 5 is blowing up on Kickstarter right now. We've passed the $4,000 mark, which means I believe we've hit a couple of the stretch goals so far. Let's keep it going though, guys. Please go show love to that Kickstarter. I want to see this one do some bigger numbers. We've got some really cool stretch goals on the project. A lot of great talent on the project, from interior art and colors to the writing to the lettering to the guest cover artists, etc. I'll give you guys a quick rundown on the covers. We've got, of course, my cover for Psycho Sal. This is the Virgin. I don't have the trade dress on my computer at the time, but it just has the logo and stuff on it. This Kickstarter has 3 firsts on it. The first nude cover, again, showing and stressing how, how hateful this person is with Psycho Sal. We have Ryan Kincaid's cover, absolutely beautiful. Then we have the first ever cosplay cover on Psycho Sal with Ivy Cosplay. She did 2 covers for the book and absolutely killed it as Sarah Dinks. We have Sean Fournet's color, he did the cover art and colors for his cover, absolutely beautiful. We have Amy Good, who has done her cover. And again, all these books will be available in trade dress with the logo stuff on it. Anna Zool done a beautiful cover, absolutely badass. Make sure you can try to see if you can find all the hidden bananas that Anna Banana put on her cover. Then, of course, the Ken Hunt, who did this incredible cover for the Kickstarter, and Sean Fournet actually did the colors on this one. And then Ruth Lucas's cover, this is a first because this is my first ever cover that I colored for a published project. So, guys, please go check out the Kickstarter. Go show some love to it. Like I said, a lot of hard work has went into this series and this issue particularly. Make sure you pay close attention to the add-ons that are on this Kickstarter. There's some really cool one-offs, 1 of 3 created, 1 of 5 scenario kind of stuff, or 5 of it created, 3 of it created. Appreciate the link, Cameron. Thank you. There's some stuff on there that is legit 1 of 1. That'll come signed, numbered, COA, etc., etc. So, guys, go check it out. At least share it for me if you can't. You should be able to financially back it. We've got things on there that are affordable for all types of income levels. And remember, what you back today, they do not pull that money from your bank account today. When the Kickstarter ends in 30 days, that's when they'll collect your money, like the very next day after the Kickstarter ends. So you've got all month to save up for whatever it is you're trying to get. Just go back it so you don't miss out on it. And then you can square up, at the end of the Kickstarter. But thank you, guys. I love you. You're badass. You're awesome. Thank you for the support on Kickstarter for Psycho Sal as a whole on the series. And thank you for the support you guys have shown us today, past the 4,000 mark and since noon this morning. So 9 hours, and actually it was 8.5 hours, I think, when I noticed we were past that. So about 8.5 hours, we passed the $4,000 mark. So let's get it to 10K, guys, because when we hit 20K, everybody gets free t-shirts that physically back to Kickstarter. Psycho Sal t-shirts for everybody. You get a t-shirt, everybody gets an Oprah t-shirt. So go back it, guys. Go share it. All you retailers, flippers, sellers, everyone who I promote your content, I share out your content. Show me some love. Go share the Kickstarter to your followers, and I appreciate it. You guys have a great night. Thank you again for tuning in, and I'll see you guys later.